What's going on? Can you say?
Not much. Yeah.
No, I was testing my headset because it was saying it wasn't connected like 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
I dropped the ball on my book, man, because I've been hella distracted, man. But I should be straight starting tomorrow. I really just want to take a flight like to the Grand Canyon or somewhere remote and just knock off like 3 days of just dedicated push through this. Of course, pushing through this would probably just knock off 2 chapters in 3 days. I would target the two biggest chapters, each of which are like approximately 70 pages each.
well, and now I don't know. You could didn't they just release a bunch of different models this week or something like that? Claude 4 and I don't know. They've got like a few out. I wonder if you run it through some of these newer models if they give you better results or not. But maybe there's still curtains up or walls. Is are you still presenting something? Because I get you in like the mini map here, or like the mini side, as if you're presenting something.
I'm not presenting anything.
But it's just a black screen. I wonder if something got broke.
Uh,
Something and then or maybe I could do that.
when I hit present or invite, share screen. Oh, that didn't work. Why is everything broken?
Yeah, I don't know. My email was going slow. X messages are all busted. I don't
It
know what the
must
hell is going on.
it must be Gemini.
Yeah, it's taking over now. This is
I
it.
mean, they dropped a compilation a couple days ago. This is me sharing something, and then if I say stop sharing,
There, now it's back. Yeah, it must have just bugged out.
uh,
Maybe you added me at and then stopped sharing, but it didn't
I
send the
didn't
right message
I,
or something. I don't know.
I didn't hit
Sequence
share at
bug.
all. But okay.
I don't know.
And have you done anything with your book for outline?
No, I haven't done shit um, on that front. I don't know. I probably should get back into it here.
Yeah.
The thing I've done over the last couple weeks though is so I went camping. It'll be 2 weekends ago, and dude, I had a little bit to drink, not a lot, not nearly as much as I've ever had. Like it was pretty limited for me historically. I just felt like just garbage the next day. So, and I've been feeling like garbage for like the last 6 months or so, or maybe 3 months especially.
You have
Where
been?
yeah. So last basically when I came back from that, and I didn't talk about this last week, but I started on doing like the carnivore diet, but plus berries, I guess would be thing. So and dude, it's and no alcohol, no like pop or basically whatever. And dude, I feel way different. It's
Better.
yeah, way better. Like super. It's weird though too. Like I wake up now. I can't like I woke up at like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock the last 3 days, or actually the last week maybe. Um, and I wouldn't even wake up till like 8:30. I'd be crawling out of bed. Now I'm just like literally no alarm goes off. I just my head wakes up at about 4:35 and it just says go, and it's like
When you,
out.
hold up, you said carnivore diet with berries.
Yeah. So
What does that
well,
mean? You just eat a whole bunch of bologna?
no, it's all like so it's like
That was a
be
racist joke.
no, it's, I guess yeah. I eat everything that's purely white. I eat onions, cauliflower. I don't want any other food. No. So it's like beef, mostly beef, but then bacon and eggs and cheese a little bit. I'll have like some dairy, um, but it's all animal based. The diet's officially like animal based diet, so it's large portion of it's from of what you eat is from animals, and then you have like some other stuff that you selectively pick. Like I basically it's like blueberry. I do blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, and raspberries, and then some nuts, and then I have like this like 90% chocolate that I'll have a little bit of every once in a while. But yeah, dude, it's really weird, but it like I feel great compared to where I was 2 weeks ago. So
That's
I
good.
think, but I think what I'm going to be doing is at least for the summer doing this um, and then staying off of all alcohol or any other substances, THC or whatever, for the duration. Just do a full reset.
Do you have the willpower to stay away from alcohol, given that you have like your friends and family that drink? As when I say family, like in-laws and stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm going to. Dude, that was like the way I was feeling after that, man. It's like normally when I'd go camping in years past, I would, we show up on let's say a Friday or whatever, and I think this one was a Saturday. Um, but we'd have drinks and stuff, and we'd party or whatever for that night. Not loud, but just chat and have a good time. Dude, I was out by like 8 o'clock with a headache, with barely anything, and I just went to bed. And I woke up the next day, just left because like we were leaving anyways. But like I had no ability to do anything. It was awful. I was like, I gotta change something because I feel like I'm just going downhill fast.
Hey, gambler.
So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a different thing. Um, but like, I'll have butter too. So I put butter in my coffee. I'll drink coffee, but coffee's about and tea are the only kinds of drinks I'll have other than water. So
I'm transitioning. Uh, that
to
sounded
what?
homo. That sounded homo.
What's the female version of Scott? Scotty, maybe?
I thought it was. What was it? I can't remember. But what did they say?
I'm waiting for it to respond. I picked the '03 model by accident, so it doesn't have a established feminine counterpart. Um, Scotty or Scotty is often used potentially. So yeah, Scott's apparently a Scottish name here.
Yeah. Well, I think I told you I have Irish in me, but I'm not sure how far Ireland is from Scotland. But
They're just across the channel. Before we transition to like, I'm down already. Like a lot of this is water weight because you shed water weight like mad when you do this. But I'm down. I want to say like at least 10 pounds since 2 weeks ago. Like
from your carnivore diet of bologna.
Of bologna, yeah, pure bologna. That's all I eat is bologna. My bologna.
So
Anyway.
do you see the starting of a six pack or nothing?
No, dude, I'm.
That's pretty much how I judge weight
I have
loss
a gut.
is.
I have a gut.
If I see like a partial dent that looks like the beginning of a journey to a six pack, then I'm like, all right, I'm making progress.
Yeah. Well, not for me. For me, it's just like if my face doesn't look as chubby and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's going down gradually. If I watch it every day, it's like, yeah, but like I
How
think
many meals a day do you eat?
just whenever I want. Oh well, it depends. Whatever I want. The idea behind, I guess, any carnivore diet or any even whole foods diet is you can pretty much just eat till you're full whenever you want. It doesn't really matter. But I've mostly been not eating till 2-ish or as soon as I feel hungry, and then I'll eat. But I know I'm not hungry all the time.
Yeah, but on average, how many meals do you eat? I mean, you have a wife that probably provisions food and beverage, right?
No, I do most of that. So, I mean, historically, what I would do probably, except for on the weekends, let's just say during the week, is I maybe would have like some sort of breakfast type thing sometime before noon. And it was always this one thing where I'd do a tortilla with a sausage and cheese and egg, whatever. And then I'd have one supper. But then there'd be a lot of like, at least for the last 6 months, anyways, a lot of random snacking shit. So like eat whatever we have sitting around because we have a lot of shit sitting around. Um, you know, like candies from Easter or whatever, or chips or, you name it. But generally for meals, it would be two probably. I never really eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I do occasionally, but not regularly. So, but now it's like, yeah, just one or two. So, like yeah, we can transition now, both of us. I'll go to Shaniqua. I'll become both black and a girl.
Shantae.
Shantae.
I spent like half an hour yesterday morning researching the development environment for Google XR or Android XR. Are you familiar with that?
Is that the one? No, no. I might have seen something in X or whatever. Oh, for the this is like the excuse me, glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, neat. So augmented reality stuff.
Uh, well, I think only with Google's conference a couple days ago, they were talking about basically integrating AI with glasses, and the demo looked pretty cool. Basically, you just whatever you have in view, you can like I think press a button on your glasses like this, and then ask a question,
Yeah, so it's
and then
Meta
it.
did that too, didn't they?
But also, it has translation through the glasses. So if you go to like Mexico City or like Japan or whatever, and you're having a conversation, or I mean, you don't have to physically go. You can speak to anybody, or when you hear Spanish or another language, it'll transcribe within your glasses. So I thought that was cool.
Hmm.
Mm, I was trying to figure out what applications for motorcycling if you wear those glasses, but I wasn't able to think of a really good one. But I was considering like just downloading Android Studio and then just messing around with it and probably buying some glasses and seeing what I could do with it.
Cool. Do you have your interview?
Yeah, I did. It went well for the most part.
No, no response yet.
No, they told me that I would hear back from them the next day, but I didn't see any updates in my email.
Huh.
Um,
Check your junk. People don't
oh,
check their junk mail as much as they should. There's so much crap that goes there that's valid. I mean,
so
there's a
no,
lot that it doesn't go there, but
yeah, I don't have any. I'll check my deleted because sometimes things automatically get deleted. I'll check that.
hmm.
No fizz buzz. Surprisingly, it wasn't a coding interview.
Really
Um, but they told me originally that I was submitted as a senior developer candidate, and then it got escalated to a P5. I was escalated to a P5 candidate, which I
which is
think
what,
is
principal
analogous
or
to like a
staff.
staff or principal engineer.
Hmm. That's a role I never
Yes,
expect to get.
that's two levels up from the original submission.
Jeez, that's awesome. I never expect to get there.
Always thought that you would have to dedicate probably minimum 4 years to a company if you start at at maximum senior to even achieve that level.
No, I mean, what if you're? I mean, imagine if you're like a principal engineer at Google and you leave and then you join another company. I think honestly that companies have started to use principal and staff just to
Interchangeably.
provide. Well, no. There is a difference, but there's also like one level above that. It's like fellow or like
Distinguished.
distinguished, yeah, or something like that. There's even like a senior principal that goes on, but it's to provide the illusion of career progression. I want to say, I mean, you do get more money and stuff, but it's the same money increases you get. It just allows them to stop people at certain pay caps, I think, while allowing others to progress forward without really any actual change in responsibilities. I feel like that's become a thing because what happens now is like you reach senior, what, like at a company you could probably reach senior within 5 years from being a nobody, you know.
In my case, I was a junior developer until I moved to a different state and started submitting resumes as a senior. I got hired as a senior.
Yeah. The first place that I started at was, and once you reach 7 years, you become senior. That was originally their thing. Was it was a 7 year commitment. You're a senior now,
Mm.
and that included some other stuff.
Wonder what the
But
turnover rate was for that.
I left after 5 to get
I would have
to
left
get.
after 6 months. Like, just got that
Well,
right.
I think this was back in 2009 period, or like that early 2010 period. I don't think it's the same as what it is now. You know, I feel like it's gotten like an explosion of titles and stuff. Well, anyways, like people put more thought into it, um, but I left, became a senior where I left to, and then came back as a senior to that place. So I was one of the first seniors under 7 years.
Mm.
But then it kind of, the floodgates kind of opened from there because they reworked their whole like progression system for stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah, so over the weekend, I had recorded myself doing some cold katas. I got through the first one pretty straightforward. And the first one I had already did. I even blogged about it like maybe 6 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it still required me to try to like approach it, but I mean, it I hadn't done it in a while, so it wasn't like straightforward for me to remember how to do it. And that was the business rules kata, where the event of receiving a payment results in a set of events involved in processing that payment, and that the rules can change um, frequently. And so, how can you write that code or write the model, knowing that requirements are consistently changing all the time, and how can you minimize the amount of maintenance to accomplish that? So I was pretty proud of myself for doing that within probably like, or writing that probably within like 35, 40 minutes. I know that still seems like a long time, but I'm literally thinking out loud as I'm writing code, recording, and methodically explaining my thought process. But then when I was practicing the supermarket pricing, so you have like promotions like buy two get one free, or three for $1, or 45 cents a pound, or stuff like that. uh, I struggled.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, the next following days in the shower, you know, I thought about perhaps better ways of modeling that. But
So, but that would all be pre-sale. So why would it be at a payment time, right?
no, two separate katas.
Oh, two separate cuts. I'm sorry, I missed that transition. Transition's the word of the day.
Gambler said, never had a senior title, always been a developer. Wink.
I wonder if that's Is that a Europe software market thing, or is it just because the companies you've been at are always just developer? Dude, you know what we should do though? We should start a business that to do sell movie theater
It's a
tickets.
small company thing. What do you say?
We should start a company to sell movie theater tickets. Dude, the theater that I have in town, like they've got the system's got maybe like 12, 8 to 12 locations somewhere in there. But their site sucks. Like they're and I looked at it, they're using something from like the dude, it's like a blast from the past type thing. Cause I went in, I'm like, why is this so bad? Like, how are we here and this is this bad? I went into the code base or the HTML and found out where it came from, like who wrote it originally. Went there, and the website's literally from like you'd look at it would be like an early '90s website. It's so terrible, and I'm just like, I could build something like this better than this, better experience in a weekend. You know,
It's so terrible, but it's still getting money 25, 30 years later.
well, so what it is that the backing is a suite of different things. It's not a tailor made to movie theaters, I think, although it's like that must be a module or something that they have. But it's just like, I don't even know if it's making money. I think it might be a self deploy thing. I don't really know. But God, it's awful. Like, it's just awful. You can't, like, if you start, um, select your movie tickets and then you start your checkout process, but something was wrong with, let's say, your credit card or whatever, there's no recovery. So now those tickets are reserved for like 15 minutes, but you have no way to proceed with the transaction. So you have to wait for the timer to run out, then go and try to run and re-reserve them again. It's just awful. Like there's no concept of session or anything like that. Yeah, it's borked. I hate it. I want to make it better. I want to make it so I can just go in, boop, 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 got my movie tickets.
And this is like dollar show movies, like
No, this is just. I think it's a smaller system, so it's not like AMC or I don't know what other ones there are out there.
well, I say
But
dollar show. I'm talking about movies that have been out for like a couple months that are discounted.
no, these ones are. This is a movie theater, so it's all new movies that come in, and then whatever they decide to cycle in or out.
Have you been to a dollar show movie theater before?
But no.
Okay, that's where our disconnect is. So, so they have movie theaters where the movies have been out for a
Oh
while.
yeah, I know the concept of them.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I've just never been to one.
Well,
Yeah, so it's like you could play either really old movies or movies that were in the theaters like a year ago or half a year ago or whatever. Ones that have totally run out, but now they're cheap. They'll still sell tickets on them,
yeah,
but they make all
not
their
really a
money
year
off
ago,
this.
but a couple months. But yeah,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, it's well, if they're out of theaters, normal first run theaters, I
uh,
suppose. Stuff you could watch on streaming now, but you want to go and watch in the theater for some reason because of the experience.
theater. What experience? People are so bit. This happened to me yesterday. The only screen I want to see when I'm watching a movie is the movie screen. I don't want to see any glare from any phones. Period.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I hate that.
Even when I'm at home, I don't want to see someone else's screen on their phone. I want to see my movie. I was trying to watch what movie did I watch yesterday? It was like some aliens. I think it's called Arrival. I'm not
Oh
sure.
yeah, yeah. Arrival sounds right.
Yeah, I like that movie. I was watching it first on the plane like a month ago, a couple months ago, and I never got through it on the plane. So then I rented it yesterday.
Hmm.
You think they're going to? You think they're going to declare undeniable evidence of alien life within our lifetime?
Uh, maybe. I mean, I think that they could. Um, I don't know.
It amazes me how many advances we've made in literally like 350 years compared to the amount of time humans have been on this earth. What is it, 40,000 years? Like all of a sudden,
Modern humans.
well, a human is a human.
Well,
Were you
like
talking about
Homo sapiens,
Neanderthals?
or yeah, because and I mean, some people have Neanderthal blood in them too, so it's
Well,
because they were cross like compatible.
were humans not here 40,000 years ago?
I know. I'm gonna ask. Humans been 30 to 300,000 years ago in Africa, so it's longer than that.
I think the KKK would.
Hominins go back 6 to 7 million years. The Homo genus goes back 2.5 million years.
What's the difference?
So even though that it's only 0.00067% of Earth's history, it's like really long.
How about this? Primates that communicate through spoken language that have syllables. I guess that would root out Bushmen because they.
Well, yeah, I mean, and hey, we might be evolving where we don't communicate at all through syllables. We just
Or that, right?
just like this. We just sit here and have a conversation. I go, and then you look at it and go.
No, I think those glasses are going to. One is, I think the glasses are going to be the next huge thing because exactly what you said. I mean, you don't live in a big city, but specifically women, 85% of them, if they're out in public walking, they're. I mean, it's surgically attached to their hand, man. That's the way that they walk. They literally just stare at their social media as they walk. And I think glasses are going to enhance that user experience. So I'm not sure what it's really going to start looking like. I'm not sure if they're going to be. I'm not sure what annoying thing is going to come with smart glasses.
I don't think they're going to take off. I think it'll be a niche product thing.
Well, they have microphones and speakers in them, right? So you can maintain a phone call and share what you're looking. In the future, you'll be able to maintain a phone call. Of course, your video call is going to be what you see, not necessarily them seeing you.
Yeah. Plus, you can't take an Instagram photo with your glasses.
Well, technically, you could probably have
Oh,
another.
well, I guess if it's at your
You could have
food.
some. You could. I mean, this may be like another 30 to 50 years out, but in theory, you could have like some type of projector that your glasses. You could have a projector that comes from your belt or whatever that shoots out in front of you 3 feet. Your glasses hits it and then projects your image back for the other person on the other end of the communication system to see you.
There you go. Or it says you have a personal drone. Actually, you should build an entire headset that's like this. It goes on your head, and there's a canopy up here, like a helicopter pad that has your personal drone inside of it. And then whenever you want to take an Instagram photo, you just say, "Hey, heads or helmet, super helmet, take an Instagram photo of me," and it goes like that.
Actually, I'm going to enhance that idea. You take the minimalist form factor. You call the product the Fly, and literally it's your companion whenever you want to stream video that's within close proximity to you, and which will stream video of you talking, your Fly.
And then it like noise cancels. It's like
Well, it's I mean it's small, right? So a Fly could literally be.
yeah, they have small drones like that.
It
They're
could be as
still
small
loud.
as this. Well, how loud can it be if it's 10 feet away from you?
Well, yeah, but if it's doing the recording, Oh, I guess maybe if you have it,
Well, it's
you're
recording
recording
video.
on, yeah,
It's
maybe the
recording
video,
video. Your glasses are recording the audio.
yeah, syncs with your audio. Yeah, yeah, okay. There you
I
go.
mean,
I thought you were like talking more like like an AI flying bee companion that you could be like,
I am.
hey fly, how you doing? And it goes,
Well, I wasn't necessarily saying AI,
and then it
but
just interprets that. Oh, I'm doing all right.
just like Dragonfly. Is it Dragonfly? I'll confuse uh Titan and Mars. But just like Perseverance has that drone quadricopter
Mm-hmm.
in which they partner together. It's the same thing. I think the next vanity technology, yes, I coined that vanity technology. I think it's going to be a small little drone, maybe the size of this, um, that will fly to and fly back, and it'll fasten itself to you to recharge periodically. It'll do it automatically. Um, and when people want to basically glorify themselves on video via streaming themselves in social media, they're going to have quote unquote a fly product that will go and do the video footage or the photo captures, and at the same time they can continue talking. Their glasses will basically stream the audio and or a video, but also they can have a split screen, kind of like when I hit the present on here, in which they can show what they're looking at through their glasses, but also show the drone footage coming in.
Oh, that'd
That's
be
the product,
dangerous.
Sean.
That'd be dangerous. Oh, I can't reach the top of that fence to look at these nude people in the swimming
Oh
pool
yeah,
that
it'll
I'm
be the
already
ultimate
outside.
porn experience.
Your fly goes up and your fly comes down.
I always forget to fly. The AI photo filter will remove the canopy. There
There
you
you
go.
go. Yeah.
Including the anyway. I said like yesterday, I invested like half an hour of just looking into XR glasses and the development documentation. I haven't actually bought any glasses yet. Android Studio is so different from Visual Studio. I think you can import the shortcuts in Android Studio that you use commonly with Visual Studio. And of course, I mean, there's probably other IDEs you could use too. And was it IntelliJ? I'm not sure.
Probably. Well, if Java's based, probably IntelliJ is. Was that NetBeans one?
NetBeans.
Eclipse, maybe?
I'm not sure if NetBeans is still a thing. I used that in college,
Is it? I don't
and I
know.
liked it.
It was way better than Eclipse, I think. It was
Yeah, Eclipse
Apache.
was. Yeah,
Yeah, NetBeans is still around.
I'm probably at home in Android Studio, as it is IntelliJ based. That I use daily.
I hate Eclipse though. Screw Eclipse.
In college, the Eclipse that I was using didn't actually have IntelliSense, which was a pain. But
Jeez. Ah.
so we talked about movie theaters. We talked about your bologna diet. We talked about XR glasses. We talked about both of us have been hella distracted to consistently make progress with our novels. Only good thing about not working on your novel is the next time you look at it, it's kind of fresher.
Yeah. And then you go, this sucked. It's like going away from code for a while, then
Uh,
coming back, go, this sucked. And then you want to just rewrite it all. Not that I even wrote one to begin with, but the outline and stuff. But I just don't know. I don't know. It's just not in love with the story and stuff. Like I think I looked at this as a money grab rather than something I really wanted to do.
mine's a money grab.
Yeah. Which in that case, I should be focusing on just spitting out even shit content, not caring about the story at
No,
all.
if you want the money grab to span the next like 60 months, which is what I would like to do. Like here's my stuff right here. I mean I have red ink. It's just I'm not consistent every day with it. So this is half the book. Uh each page, or printing on both sides of the page. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if I have 1,000 commits for the first chapter.
Jeez, that's a lot. What else? Nothing.
Uh, you know, I would consider spending $250 a month on is it Flow Flow 3? Veo 3? I think it's Veo 3.
Oh, Veo 3? Is that the video one?
Yeah, I would consider spending $250 a month on Veo 3 if I could feed it my book, and instead of having to read my book, I could just watch a video or even listen to it. I I would do that, and I would just iterate that way. That would be a lot easier for me. But I mean, computing is valuable again. Who would have thought? Computing used to be cheap, now it's valuable again, right? And
Hmm.
so, how expensive would it be to produce a movie in Veo 3? I'm thinking it'd be I mean, probably still be cheaper than Hollywood. I'm not sure.
Christ, how many things do you have to click through to get into Veo? It's like, what the fuck? Watch Flow TV.
It probably has its own URL, so you don't have to do as many clicking.
Oh, they literally have like a TV thing where you can watch what people have made with prompts, or maybe that they've made with prompts.
Can you share your screen?
One second.
I was watching. Those look like real people. Are those real people that Veo uses?
No, they generate all this stuff. It's just really
I
good.
don't know, man. They look like literal identities of people.
Oh shit. I don't hear any audio though, so I don't know if it's. Oh no, there is audio. It's just. Flow TV. Turn this audio off. It's terrible.
I don't even
Just
hear it.
ambient. Oh, I didn't share it probably. Fit check. This just must be stuff that they've generated that they're really proud of.
I've seen her before. She was on the movie 300. That was the Oracle.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Ah!
Yeah, I saw this one. You can't. So you tell me those people were generated, as in those are not actual human
That's
beings.
the idea behind all this. Yeah.
Nah, those are people.
Has anybody written a book or a thing about AI fatigue yet? Because here's where this is the fly's point of view. Christ, that's trippy. Zoo break.
That's a mountain goat.
Goats jumping under construction buildings while people are working. High angle, ultra wide of an ostrich inside whatever.
Those are people, dude. Those
They're
are
not.
It is.
They did not record these.
I'm not saying they recorded them. I'm saying that they're using actual people.
No.
No, I think we're talking past each other. My argument is through all the photos and videos that have been on the internet for the past 35 years or whatever, I'm saying that they're using actual people from the archives of the internet. I don't think they're
I get
generating
what you're
faces
saying.
from scratch.
No, I think they're generating as close approximations to those faces, probably.
That person exists. That's my argument. I'm not saying that that person literally was recorded by someone else's camera. I'm saying that that person was captured 5 or 10 or 20 years ago and then is being reused in this video and is having animations applied to it. That's what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. It probably matches the likeness of somebody, like you said. Oh man.
That actually looks interesting. Predator.
Dream Factory. Whoa.
You have to admit, this stuff is cool.
It's cool, but man, I'm just tired of hearing about it. Realizing that we're all doomed in terms of creative pursuits. We all got to think of new ways to make money if you're in any sort of creative or
I mean, look, this. I'm just gonna say it.
intelligence. Yeah.
Hear me out. I'm just gonna say it. Imagine how that's going to affect the adult entertainment
Oh yeah.
industry.
No, I was thinking that too.
You don't need an actress anymore.
Yeah. And you could tailor make it to whatever you're interested in. I get it. Yeah.
So here's the question, Sean, and I already know the answer. I don't know how to say this. Give me a second. If AI is generating the characters, is it still pedophilia? The answer by definition is yes, but is this still a jailable offense? If there
Yeah.
are no actual human
Victims. Yeah.
beings being trafficked that are underage,
Yeah. Who's
there's no underage person involved
It
in that
doesn't matter.
experience. Well, I know as human beings we're going to say it doesn't matter, but logically,
Well, no,
that's
I mean, I'm talking about legally. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it was generated or not. Because there are tons of things that they regulate for that are
it
victimless
continues
crimes.
to facilitate an urge that would be the
Yeah.
next step.
Yeah, but also it's like and just in our legal system, there's a ton of stuff that's illegal that are victimless crimes. What's the who's the victim if you don't wear a seatbelt in a car?
You are.
No, well, you can't be a victim to yourself, right?
No, sure you can. So the argument is statistics and probability, right? It's not you go 15 minutes without wearing a seatbelt.
Motorcycles should be
Hear me
illegal
out.
then.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Over time, if someone is in the car throughout their life for, let's say, 15,000 hours, I don't know how many hours we spend in our life in the vehicle. Let's say 15,000 hours. Statistically, you're going to get into a collision. If you're not wearing a seatbelt, you're going to get hurt or you're going to die. You are going to be the victim statistically, and the more that you get into the car, the probability increases. Just like the more I ride my motorcycle, the probability increases that I'm going to get into an accident. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
But you're the victim, which raises another argument of, well, if I'm the victim, then it's my body, my decision. Hence, isn't that what women use, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's not even that's even a stupid. I'll get on the abortion thing, but that's a stupid argument for abortion because it's literally two bodies. It's not my body, my choice, because there's literally two bodies.
Well,
There's literally a victim in that case.
They don't consider the other body human. They consider it a parasite.
Well, a lot of like racist people don't consider other people humans either. Doesn't mean they're not humans. If you kill a pregnant woman, you can get murder twice. So
And I would argue, and I would agree, but I would struggle with the definition of at what point is a fetus a human, or is an embryo? An embryo is still being pregnant, right? So at what point, or at 6 weeks, does that mean that you're guilty of 2 counts of murder?
I don't know what and this is why the
Because
legality is
that would kind of
problematic.
that would kind of
Yeah, because
if I
this
get
is
into a car accident because I was text messaging while driving and I kill a lady and she's 6 weeks pregnant, damn, I get 2 counts. Like it was an embryo. Like it was just a whole bunch of cells clustered together, right? Someone can make that argument, regardless of if you agree or not.
yeah, that's why it's so hard to legislate because there's a huge percentage that wants an out for certain exceptions and things, right? And so then and then there's people who are just stupid who are like, well, it's not really human. No, you're actively killing someone, but we actively kill people all the time legally. Wars, we do it, and we do it for executions.
So let's take your argument.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to make you uncomfortable.
Oh, I'm not uncomfortable
Well,
about.
you will be.
No,
All
I'm
right.
not.
So for someone that eats bologna, would you agree, or could you understand why someone would agree that people that have higher education uh, tend to have less kids versus people with low education that tend to have more kids? In general, would you agree with that assessment?
Define education.
People that have people that have college degrees that are in demand, they tend to have less children compared to people
There are no
that are
college degrees in demand.
people STEM, really?
Well, maybe like AI, or if you had
STEM,
a
really?
specific, maybe certain
Nursing?
engineering ones.
Nursing?
Maybe you don't need a degree to be a nurse. It's just a way to pull money off of people.
Okay. Would you agree that people that live in the projects or that are on welfare statistically tend to have more kids than people that have bachelors, masters, or PhDs?
So you're saying people who are so now it's a socioeconomic thing.
I'm asking the question. Would you
People
agree that
on the that are socially that do not follow a liberal arts education in any way, shape, or form probably do have more kids. Yes.
okay? Because I had to pull that out of you, I lost my original train of thought. Fuck, what was help me out? What was the original thing that we were talking about before I started asking you that question?
Before it was about abortion, but
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Now you're bringing it back. All right. So if in general we both agree that uh, poor people tend to have and uneducated people with air quotes tend to have more children than affluent people that are educated. If in general we would say, yeah, we could see that. Um, and if they live in a country that rewards or subsidizes poor people that can't take care of the children that they produce. So the more kids that they produce, the more daddy government gives them more money. One would argue, would abortion be a tool to basically control the population, right? So you hear of controlling the cat population with Bob Barker, Price is Right. Have your dogs and cats neutered or spade, whatever. I think it's spade. Um, One can argue for cultures within societies that just have a high probability, regardless of the reason, of producing lives that they can't take care of themselves, and they rely on government subsidies, would it be okay for abortion to be used as a tool or an option?
As an option or tool.
Statistically, we see what happens with people that are raised in urban environments that are destitute, raised by a single parent mom, and we see how that contributes to the population in prison. We see how that contributes to homelessness. We see how that contributes to the murder rate. We see how that it just contributes to degenerate people. Would you still disagree with abortion?
Would I still disagree with abortion? Well, yes.
Okay. So instead of if you took a trip to the state prison, if you took a trip to the projects, if you read the daily paper and looked at the robberies, the shootings, the murders, the rapes, and you can correlate it to a specific culture, for whatever reason that culture does it, it seems like a high percentage of those incidents come from a specific culture. Would you not say, you know what, maybe abortion should be an option so that we can have less of this? That's still a no?
But still a no.
Why?
Well, let me ask you this. If that's the
I didn't
case,
say force abortion. I'm saying it's an option
it's an
for,
option.
for people
Well,
that are not prepared to bring other human beings onto this planet or into society specifically,
do
because they're
we
not prepared to raise these people into productive members of society.
do we provide an option to just have the members of that community just kill each other? Because that would solve the same problem.
That's the option that we're using right now,
Murder.
due to a lack of parenting, which requires discipline and accountability. We're lacking that.
So we allow them to kill each other. Heck, we could allow them to eat their
We're
own
not
babies.
we're not allowing them to kill
That
each
would
other.
solve hunger. So we don't have to pay food stamps if they can just eat their own babies.
We're not allowing them to kill each other. They're doing it without us sanctioning it
But oh,
or sponsoring it.
well, that you is this a question of legality or ethics or what then?
Okay, so let me answer your question. If all of us want to be able to operate in society unmolested, undisturbed, without being victims, and we can statistically agree, for lack of a better phrase, that people that are born into poverty, people that are born uh, to others that can't even take care of themselves, and they rely on government to do it for them. Right? We're not talking about 100% of the case. I know there's edge cases. If we could say that when they have children, it is a high probability that the children that they raise are going to be degenerates. Period. Call it what it is. Right? It's a high probability that they're not going to be productive members of society based on the conditions that they were raised in.
Yeah.
Would it be in the interest of society to abort those pregnancies? Focus on statistics. Now, I'm going to
No.
remind you. No, hear me out. I know this is dragging, but I'm going to remind you the reason that we have Allstate, Progressive, MGM Grand, right? Casinos, insurance companies, is because they have created businesses and industries that are based on statistical probability, and they are winning. If we use that logic, why would you still disagree?
Why would I
Who,
still
who
disagree?
is at risk? What?
Because there's first principles though, and this is the difference between I think conservatives and people who are ultra liberal, and at least in the traditional factor is that conservatives, which probably lean more towards actual libertarians, have the primacy of individual care and then family care, and then society care. Like,
Huh?
so it's your care starts here and it grows outward. People of the liberal mindset have this thing where this is the primacy, is the overall society, and then you work down, and the individual doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And what you're giving is that thing and saying, well, statistically, society, which is the most important thing to everyone, it's the world, the globalist mindset is the most important thing, not the individual. Then yeah, there's a lot of things.
Yes.
There's a lot of
Yes.
great things we could take from that, which is why don't you just genocide anyone that's poor?
That's not what I'm saying. They're here
But you
now.
can.
No, they're here now. So
Okay, so now you're
I
getting the subtle difference.
all right. Would you like to continue? Because
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
have
No,
another thing. No,
go
no, I
ahead.
don't want to cut you off, but also would like to inject something else.
Okay, do the other thing. Yeah.
Okay. So let's take what you just said. All right. I purposely use the term degenerates. You know what's highly likely, and I'm going to frame this as a question, and it's not rhetorical. You can answer it. Do you think that Jews, some white people, Asians, Indians, do you think that a subset of them end up being doctors, lawyers, architects, engineers, people that produce value? Well, of course, electricians and plumbers, they produce value too, but maybe they don't produce enough value to take care of the next generation. Um, do you think that they achieve those levels of success, financial freedom, because people within their community are already operating at that level? Would that be fair to say? They Because it's visible to children that those children, as they develop to adults, a subset of them can aspire and operate at that level in those professions. If you Are you still there? Yeah, you're
Yeah,
back.
yeah. I'm
If you see it in general, it's easier to become it.
yeah, that's
Would,
true.
would
Yeah,
that
for
be
sure.
somewhat logical?
Y-
Just
Yeah, I mean, if you
okay.
know somebody who's done something or have
Okay.
seen something, yeah,
I'm going to make it make sense why I said that. Okay. So if people that are born into a culture where those levels of achievement is visible, if it's visible, then one could say that it's likely accessible, depending on the culture and depending on the discipline of the parents. Then that's one example. That's one case. If you have people that are born into poverty where instead of doctors, lawyers, architects, engineers, whatever, it's drug dealers, pimps, gang members. There are no doctors within the community that you see making it rain on music videos. There are no lawyers doing the same thing. There are no engineers that's glorified, within those urban societies or within the projects. But what is glorified are the people that victimize others. Do you think children can even aspire to have those options as the Jews, as the Asians, as a subset of white people, as the Indians? That is rhetorical. The answer is no, because that's not dangled in front of them. That's not the carrot that's placed in front of them. My argument is this: if people that are born into that culture are doomed from the start, and it's a high likelihood that the majority of them, overwhelmingly, not 100%, because you may have like 3% that are completely productive members of society, but the probability is extremely low. Would it not make sense to exercise the option? Doesn't mean you have to take it, but have the option to abort for single parent mothers that are not prepared to bring another life into this world in which they can steer that life into being a productive member of society instead of a gang member, a drug dealer, a pimp, etc. Because statistically, that's what it leads to. As much as we, as much as our feelings and compassion, statistically, if you're raised in that type of environment, you're pressured to go down a certain path. That's it. I'll close my mouth and I'll listen.
I'd say no.
Okay.
Still no. You could make the argument too that the doctors in all of these things, at least our current formulation of doctors, the vast majority of them probably kill more people on average than any gang member does. I'd have to assume, just because because they're in the pockets of pharma, they put people into poverty that way. They kill people that way because they mix meds without any real idea of what they're doing. They get people on dependent on a system that makes money for other people. Doctors do a lot of harm.
Okay. So,
Now
so
there are
doctors
certainly
your-
doctors who are good, like who work on things that are well known and are mechanical things that we understand, not just throw shit at the wall and try stuff. That there are those kinds of good doctors, but there's a lot. Your average doctor, you go to the doctor, they're going to say, what meds are you on? And they're going to tell you, they're going to try to get you on another med to fix whatever's wrong with you. And that's it. That's what they do. They're pill pushers. They kill as many people. Like if you look at like the case with the Sackler family and what they did with, what's it called? God, it's the, I can't remember the name of it. I keep thinking of Ozempic now, but it's not. It's the one where it's basically like morphine in a pill that just was supposed to be slowly. That killed a ton of people. Doctors push that shit all the time.
Okay, so you're talking about doctors.
So statistically, they're killers.
Okay, so you chose to talk about doctors. What about all the other professions that achieve like financial freedom?
Well, that has nothing to do with. The thing is that there's a legality question, but a person who sells illicit drugs like cocaine and stuff they're making a fortune.
Okay.
So you're putting a value statement on these things. Like if you have a small community and you have gang wars,
but they're not the same, Sean. A doctor is. You say that the consequences they take lives. Well, they're also saving lives too. So, what's the ratio of them preserving lives and helping to increase health versus destroying lives and destroying health? Are they destroying more lives than they're helping? Is that your argument?
Well, in that case too, we should probably execute the leaders of every food company in the United States. Anyone upwards of the farmer that produces food in any sort of refined factor should probably just be executed because they're literally killing people and reducing the quality of life.
So
you see where these like absurdities start to creep in.
Well, you're picking edge cases. You're not picking.
Well, you're picking an edge case.
You're not picking the norm. If you grow up in Watts, California, if you grow up in 8 Mile, Detroit, if you grow up in East Cleveland, Ohio, there is a high likelihood that you're not going to be a productive member of society if you're raised under those types of conditions and you cannot get out.
But who defines what's productive?
Paying your taxes, paying into the system.
So now again, you're putting the primacy on society rather than the individual. You have to go back to like a first principle.
Okay, I'm listening.
The first principles are the individual is the most important thing, and individuality starts at conception. Those are the two principles. You can if you just take those as the things.
Let me repeat what you said. The individual is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you elaborate it with.
And then an individual starts at conception.
Okay.
You put those two together, and nothing. If you try to bring this society type thing in, it doesn't matter whatsoever.
Well, the reason why we have governments is so that we can basically. One reason is enforce how people want society to behave because we're affected by other people.
Yeah, we are affected by other people, and it's not how we want people to behave; it's how we adjudicate problems.
There's a certain contract because we have to live with other people. There's a certain contract that we want our government to enforce to say, hey, We have to live with these
I'll
other
shut my door
people.
here quick.
Yeah,
I'm
no
listening
worries.
though. Keep talking.
Hey, we have to live with these other people that are not our family members, but there's certain rights and there's a certain lifestyle that we want to preserve, that we're going to pay taxes to have our government enforce. That's it. But when you have, again, an environment or in a culture where people are highly likely not to comply with that, my argument is abortion should be an option for people that are not prepared to bring other lives into this world, especially productive ones.
No, because every person individually, not statistically, every person individually has the capacity to be a normal, like
You're,
contributing person in society,
they
or
do,
be
they do,
apart from society.
they do. But the difference is there's Disney and then there's reality. Disney is possibility, right? Reality is probability. Everything that we operate right now is based on probability, statistical, right?
Well, I mean, if you
It's not
want to go that,
possibility.
but if you want to go down that track, then you'd have to ask the question of why didn't that entire population just get killed off? That's the logical conclusion to a statistics-based thing. If statistically this group is is the problem group, you literally just wipe them off. If it
I, di-
doesn't matter,
I didn't say kill them off. I said have abortion as an
but you're
option.
now you're picking and choosing what thing. You're saying that let's allow them to kill themselves. Essentially, that's what you're saying to me. They
Yeah,
can murder each
yeah,
other.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're not going to, if that culture is going to be bring more problems and more issues into modern society, prison and what led to prison, and it's not conducive to a healthy, productive society, then why would we let that in? Why?
Why wouldn't you just murder everyone in that group then?
Well, if it's detrimental to society and society is not going, and society is going to continue to degrade as a consequence of that, then that's a conversation worth having.
I don't think so.
This is why
Uh,
we have war in the first place, because of limited resources, one taking from the others, and lives being affected. And the only reason, only way that us humans are able to say, all right, this is how we solve this problem, is you have to end lives that are threatening others' way of life. That's why we have war.
yeah, and we
To,
shouldn't have war.
to use force to remove people that are going to be a detriment to a certain way of life.
Yeah, and
That's
that's why we
almost the
shouldn't
definition.
have it. And a lot of it's not about that at all. It's a lot of it's
It's
about
not
power.
power
No,
to do what?
the,
Maintain or achieve certain options in life.
well,
That's what it is.
what do you think that Kim Jong Un wants to have any sort of
He
military
wants to
force?
preserve his dynasty. He wants to preserve his way of life.
And that's nothing about resources or whatever. It's except for that one person
They're all related to preservation, either preservation or basically putting yourself in the
or
position
ambition
that you want to preserve later.
or ambition.
It's yeah, that's the
It's
second
not.
part of what I just said.
Preservation isn't
You want to put yourself in a position that you will preserve later, or that you hope to preserve later.
or you
So
just want to consume.
you're you're living in an environment that you can't grow food. It's rife with disease because the air is not clean. It's horrible soil, and you're like, if we continue in this particular environment, then we're not going to exist 10 years from now. And it's I have to preserve my people. And hey, these people 100 miles away, they're living good, but you know what? We need to eat. We need to live too. So we need them to share, because if they don't share, then it's the end of our culture. It's the end of our way of life. It's the end of us. Ask permission. Hey, can you guys share with us? We're going through hard times right now. No, no, there's not enough to go around. That's what you said? Really? Okay. Well, if you don't share with us, then we're going to end. And it's my responsibility as a leader because my people put faith in me to protect them and to get them what they need. So we're just going to have to go to war. And I don't want to kill you, but we need to take some of your resources so we can live too. I mean, that's the logic, right?
Well, yeah, and in that case too, war has its own advantage of reducing both sides' needs, right? Because you're killing off people in a war.
Yeah, but yes, but that's part of human nature. It's part of primate nature. Chimps do the
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah, it's part of it.
Lions do the same thing.
But the thing is that to say within society that we should allow someone to kill another person, which is what abortion is ridiculous.
Okay, it's ridiculous for the same reason that using your logic, it's ridiculous for there to be the death penalty. We're allowing a group of people in government to kill a person, right? That's the same thing. I'm not trying to transition, but I'm using your logic
Sure.
at the expense of keeping that person alive through someone that works at McDonald's and deducting taxes from their hard-earned money, right? To keep that person alive for the next 30 years.
Well,
That's doing absolutely nothing. That person takes lives. He rapes babies, right? But we're going to keep him alive, and that $600 that person at McDonald's had made, in 2 weeks, we're going to take $100 of that, and they're going to continue to struggle to figure out how they're going to feed their family, right? Do you see the logic? Why do we need to preserve people that are not contributing but are only taking away and making other people's lives more difficult
yeah, but
through their personal decision?
yeah,
Their personal decision.
yeah, that's the thing is that you just pointed out the one difference in those two scenarios. Every person has potential to,
They
to
do.
be to be great, right?
Yeah.
Every person who isn't born yet has the potential to be great. Everybody who's born, who's contributing and stuff, has the potential to be great.
You're absolutely right.
They
But
choose to do now. They make choices to not be great, and they choose to be somebody who decides to harm other people.
right. So let's take your logic and again, right? It's probability over feelings, right?
Yeah,
What percentage of those people that are born in those environments statistically do demonstrate greatness, and what percentage of people in those environments do demonstrate degeneracy?
doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It
Things are
doesn't.
measurable.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So if you have one person that becomes a productive member of society from an environment that's not conducive from it, and you have 10,000 people that are not, still worth it.
Yeah,
If you have one person out of 1 million, it's still worth it.
yeah,
One person out of 10 million, still worth it.
yeah.
Okay. And what does that do to society?
What does that do to society? What do you mean? If you got 10 million people, your society's probably effed anyways. Or that's just the nature of society.
That 10,000 people, they're going to eat that one person alive. They don't share the same values.
Okay, well, that person dies
Do you,
knowing
do,
they're
you,
a
do,
good
you,
person.
do you see the logic?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I do not. You do not take, like, you cannot judge or decide the fate of some person based on societal things that they don't have any control over.
You and I both agree that life is precious. We both agree on that.
Yeah.
What we disagree on is it seems as if you're relying on morals that I call feelings, and I'm relying on the limited time that you and I have on this earth because we have something called a lifespan. How do we want to spend our life, especially if there's mechanisms that we can use to control the value of our, or the quality of our life? If we know statistically or based on probability that there's going to be a demographic of folks that unfortunately are raised in an environment that is going to promote them to be degenerates, that's going to promote them taking away the quality of life of others that actually want to be productive. You're saying, I'm okay with that. And I'm saying, at what cost? That's all. Because if you have too much of it, you're not going to have a society. You're not. But
No, society. But the thing is you're just like, this is a terribly complex system thing. Like socioeconomics is like largely at play there. So you're saying that the people who just happen to lose out in society, who are now in a struggling case, they don't have the right to try to
so
lift themselves up from the bootstraps because they were born into it.
so hear me out.
Statistically, they were
I'm
born into it.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
It's
I don't. I
fascinating. Yeah.
Hear me out.
No, okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't have to be right. Right.
Yeah.
I learn all the time. I get put in my place occasionally. I'm okay with that. A counter argument to what I'm saying is the following. Uh, Post Reconstruction, Jim Crow, you could raise the argument saying, okay, Scott, by using your flawed logic, that means uh, black people, in which majority of them were slaves or were first generation free, statistically, they they're not going to be able to sustain themselves because they have no education. They still got to eat. They still got to live. They still got to feed their children. Statistically, they are doomed. Would you wipe them out? That would be a really good counter argument. And I would have to say, damn, you got me, Sean. No,
Well, that's
because
what I just said. That's what I said a while ago. Is like, what you're doing is, if you take what you say to a logical conclusion, it's basically you need to genocide any set of people that is not contributing to society in a way that you think should be, or that in the consensus needs to be. That's why in the United States we have our Bill of Rights, is because it's to protect against the tyranny, and the court system is to protect against the tyranny of the majority. So if the majority says, no, these people, they deserve to die, and they deserve to not be able to speak, and they deserve to not be able to own guns, and they don't need due process, we can just jail them and kill them, whatever, all that stuff. And even in our Declaration of Independence is another, just like philosophically, it's very similar. It's saying that no, people have an inalienable right to life, liberty, and property. That's what they've got. It's their own inalienable right, and that's not something that society gets to determine. It's part of them.
you're
It's the very nature of them.
you're
And so if you, oh, good.
the the original topic was exercising the option, with emphasis on option, not executive order of abortion. That's it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that here's the Mossy projects, eliminate them all, right? Like the movie The Purge, right? I think they were in Staten Island. I'm not saying that. I'm saying my argument for abortion is for people that cannot take care of their own, and for whatever reason, there's not enough uh, couples that can afford to, what, 50,000, maybe it's $80,000 now, I don't know, to adopt, right? Or there's for whatever reason, if they say, you know what, we're not ready to bring in a life, um, so we're not, then that's an option that I could see.
Well, let me ask you, why, as soon as they're born, does that change?
I think it changes everything. As soon,
Why?
and I would argue that it's not even as soon as they're born. I would argue, which I can't put a finger on it, but I think once the ultrasound reveals that this is a human being and not just a cluster of cells, I would argue that no, this is a life. This is a human being, and this is someone that has done nothing to you. This is someone that hasn't even had an opportunity. This is basically a Jesus. He has no flaws, or she has no flaws. Completely perfect right now. A completely clear slate.
Here's the thing, though.
I mean,
Scott.
that's how we view children. They're innocent.
Here's the thing, though, is we are all a cluster of cells. That's literally what we are.
We are.
We are. What makes me different from a single cell?
We have the ability to make decisions and enforce it. That's the
You,
difference.
so you have cognitive. Babies don't have that ability. You can kill babies then until they reach the age of knowledge. Then, like you follow the like every time you follow these arguments down, it becomes almost the nature of it actually gets very close to the existence of God questions, which is at what point does is there an unmoved mover? You go, oh well, okay, how about you take a baby just born? No, you can't kill it. All right, what if they're in the womb and they're about to be born? No, you can't kill it. All right, how about 2 months before that? No, you can't kill it.
No.
How about 6 months before that? Well, it doesn't look like as much of a human now. So I'm going to say that thing's not a human.
I would say, and of course, this is me saying it, and my ignorance that can be corrected. Once it becomes a fetus, I don't like that decision.
But I mean, like, what if you take even that one first initial cell that gets put together, right, through a net, and you just somehow you extracted that and threw it out somewhere, and then somebody came along and did a DNA swab and analyzed that one for DNA, and found, oh, this belongs to a unique human being. We should find this human. Just because you're splattering, your cells all over the place, your DNA goes everywhere once you're born. But technically, like, you wouldn't sit there and swab that and look at the DNA and go, this isn't a human. This didn't belong to somebody. You'd say, no, that belonged to a clump of cells. No, it's unique. That DNA, that produced set of unique DNA is a person. It's a unique person with potential. And that's the nature of it. And the easiest way to think about this is that 100% it begins at life. Now, there are ways that abortion could probably be ethically got over, not legally, but ethically. The case where the mother's life is in danger, then there is a question. Now you've got a competing principle, which is: do I have the right to preserve myself over another person? Like, there's a self-defense argument then, actually. This baby inside me is literally killing me. Should I have the option? That's a hard part. Now, like, ethically, I think there's a question there. Legally, it's very difficult to tell, right? Because you can't know what's inside someone's brain. Are they doing it because... Now, you can probably have some sort of, like, independent analysis of, well, is this actually a case where this person is dying? That's a little easier. Now, what about the rape and incest question? No. It's a unique human being. There's no, like, if you just say, imagine that cell or that thing is a human right now. How are the ways that I can ethically kill it? And self-defense is an ethical kill, right? I did it because I literally, my life's in danger. It's him or me, or her and me.
What about, I already know what you're going to say. What about, take two? And what about if you know that child inside of you is, and I already said child, right? Yeah. Is going to be retarded. Like, hardcore retarded.
Yeah, there are wonderful people in the world that are hardcore retarded. Like, beautiful people that do amazing things, that do great jobs and stuff. It's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For someone that isn't prepared to render service for the rest of that person's life, is it still an argument?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can have a question about whether someone should have to take care of somebody once they're born. That's a totally different question.
That's exactly what I was asking.
Yeah, like, do I have to care for this person? That's a question you could ask. Do you have the baby and just abandon it and say, "Well, here you go. Let's let fate decide." I don't think we want people to do that, and I don't think it's ethical to do that. But you could at least ask the question. There's a difference between intentionally killing something and letting it die on its own. There is a difference between those two things.
Well,
If
I
I
think
go and
I,
if
I
somebody
think
has got if somebody's got a gunshot wound and I don't help them and they're going to die if I don't help them, that's different from me going and taking a gun and shooting them and causing that wound to begin with, right?
right.
Those are two different types of things. Like there, and there's a thing there now. That's why, like biologically, we have a strong urge to actually, once we see a child, to actually take care of it, so that we don't do that shit. Most people don't abandon their kids. There are people that do,
Hold up.
but most people
Hold up.
don't.
No, no. Time out. Time out. Why is incest against the law?
Why is incest against the law?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it like should be probably frowned upon. Like,
Why?
but well, it just like it's weird. I don't know. There's a built-in human there's a built-in human genetic thing that prevents us from doing that. And I think it's because
Oh,
our like
but we have freedom. We should be able to do whatever we want to do as long
yeah,
as there's no victims.
as long as there's consensual. Yeah, go ahead. I
Yeah.
don't care. I don't care if somebody wants to, fuck their sister. I don't care.
Yeah. So why is there a law against it?
Yeah, that's what I this came all the way back to like what seatbelts or something like that.
No,
Victimless
no. That's
crimes.
the reason why I'm asking this, Sean. Why is there a law against it?
Why is there a law against it? Because we make a lot of laws for victimless crimes.
What are the consequences of a brother piping down his sister and her getting pregnant? What are the consequences?
Well, I know where you're getting at, but I don't. The thing is that there are laws that I don't think should exist. The government has no business doing that. Like the law, that's putting the primacy on again society and saying, and that trying to make a world where it fits somebody's idea of what the perfect society should be, rather than just letting people live their lives and not. There's no reason we should have a seatbelt law. Zero. Zilch. You do not need to protect me. There's no reason that suicide should be illegal or
Well,
even doctor assisted suicide. There's no reason that should be illegal.
um, we have a seatbelt law because if you don't protect yourself and you go to the hospital and you can't afford it, I can see a credible argument is, well, is the burden is going to fall on the financial burden is going to fall on the state to take
So,
care of you while you suck through a straw at a nursing home for the rest of your life.
wait, so what you're saying then is that if I have the financial means, I should be able to not wear my seatbelt legally.
That's the way it works here in Florida. In Florida, by law, in theory, you don't. I said by law and in theory in the same sentence. You don't have to wear a motorcycle helmet if you can prove that you have $10,000 worth of health insurance.
Yeah,
So
that's fine. And in every state, I think you have to have insurance to operate a motor vehicle for the
the
same reason.
so the argument
Except
that
for
I
the alien
was the
reservations.
argument that I was trying to bring is the likely reason that incest is illegal is because of if you bring a life into this world that will statistically or has a high probability of requiring or having special needs, right? You bring a retard into this world and it could have been prevented if a father and a daughter or a mother and a son or a sister and a brother didn't have sex and the consequences pregnancy with someone that is almost imminent to be special needs, and that burden would likely fall on the state to take care of that person. And if they know that, well, this didn't have to happen, so they create a law to reduce the likelihood of it happening because there's penalties and consequences. That was the logic. You take that same type of logic of this increases the likelihood of the burden falling on the state. Oh, these two degenerates, these two crackheads, um, even though they were brought up in a very hard life, that wasn't their decision, right? It wasn't their decision for them to grow up in the lifestyle that they grew up in. That's unfortunate, but it produced their mentality. And usually, what we've learned is degenerates produce degenerates statistically, not 100%, but we're talking about casinos, we're talking about insurance companies. They kind of understand the laws of probability, right, or statistics. And so the government says, you know what, we are going to penalize this because we don't want this being rampant, nor do we want the burden of having to pay for the consequences of decisions made by others that we don't want.
Well,
That
here's the
same
question.
logic could be used for what we were debating earlier.
But the thing is that there's a there's a precursor to that. There's a stipulation for that. That does not need to exist if X doesn't exist, right? You don't need that law to solve that problem if the precursor doesn't exist. The precursor is, why does the state have to take care of anyone?
Are you asking me that?
Yeah.
Well, the whole reason why governments are formed in the first place is because people want their rights protected, or what they believe should be their rights to be protected, and in order for it to be protected, it has to be enforced.
But we have no
Violence.
right. We have no right to medical treatment.
I would agree, but there's people that have convinced other people with influence and power to say, you know what, we're going to procure a law and we're going to declare that it is a right.
Yeah, and which is where people disagree on things is at some of these fundamental things, like the state or the government being responsible for taking care of people. You do not need a seatbelt law. You do not need anything like that if the government's if you say that your government's job isn't to take care of people.
I
It's
agree
to
with you.
protect other people and to enforce contracts between people. That's it. It's to protect the people, to enforce contracts. So when you and I have a contract between us, the government is the adjudicating body between that contract. If I try to kill you or you try to kill me, it's kind of a contract too. The government gets involved to try to stop or to adjudicate that and to
Hold up,
punish
hold
it.
up, hold up. So are you saying that a baby that parents know that they can't take care of, whether it's to their drug addiction or their financial state, are you saying that that child should still be brought into the world just to starve to death or to be victimized be, through no fault of its own? And once that baby is here, then if the baby goes, then it goes. Just like if a person gets into a car accident without a seatbelt, if he goes, then he goes, and that baby has no right to intervention by the state. Is that what you're saying?
Do they have no right to intervention in terms of what? Who's doing the intervening?
Who should pay for that baby if who should take care of that baby if the parents can't?
Nobody.
So the baby should just starve to death and die.
The thing is that no, what you're saying.
It's the
Hold
same
on,
logic.
hold on. No, I get what you're saying, but the thing is
Checkmate.
that no, it's not checkmate. The thing is that this happens all the time. By the way, people abandon kids. There's boxes at places where you can go and drop a baby off, like just no questions asked, just drop your baby here.
Monasteries or
The
churches.
thing is that yeah, but the thing is that and that's the thing about society is there's a lot of people who don't want that to happen, and that well, first of all, there's an instinctual urge that every parent has. I'm sure that you know it. You'd probably if you'd probably drop a lot of stuff to protect yours, right?
Okay.
I know that the only reason that I preserve my own life a lot of times is for kids, right? It's there's this biological so the likelihood, first of all, that you're just gonna have a baby and let it starve to death is low. But okay, let's say you just literally don't have the means. Somebody probably has the means. And so there's usually some way that that person can go and transfer that care over to someone who's willing, 100% willing and able to do it, and with no malice or anything like that. So you take that out, and then the
How many?
parent would probably want that to happen. Now, the only case that you come down is that you get somebody who's doesn't care about life whatsoever, and they have a kid, and they just say meh, and that happens too. I mean,
How many people are going to stand in line and volunteer to take a retarded baby?
lots of people would.
Okay. Remember you said that. Remember
Yeah,
you said
lots of
that.
people. Yeah, lots of people
Lots of
would.
people will stand in line to take a product of ancestral, for lack of I don't know how to say the word, baby. I don't even know
Yeah,
what you call that.
yeah,
Okay. Would
yeah.
you?
Would I?
Yeah.
Maybe. It depends on the circumstances. It depends on how far outside the chain of my own like family unit.
And financially you could pay the medical bills every single month. I, I'm
If
I would think that there's probably a lot of therapy and a lot of medical expenses.
well, here's the thing. Let's just take this down a theoretical path.
Okay.
Let's just imagine my daughter has a son or daughter who's retarded, and she died during childbirth,
Okay.
and she's single. Would I take care of that kid? Yes, 100%.
Okay.
And I'd do whatever it takes to. Now, you do that extended family. If my brother and sister-in-law had a retarded kid, let's just say,
Uh-huh.
and they died, would I take care of it? 100%.
Because it's family.
Family, yeah. Now you go outside of that
And
family.
because you have a conscience.
What? Now you go outside that family group, and let's just say, for instance, you had a retarded kid,
Okay.
and
Sometimes I think so.
yeah, and we're good, and we're good friends for years, let's say, and now you die, and that kid's baby or whatever's. Would I take care of it? If I had the means and capability, probably. If it can't, like, that's the thing, is you have it goes out. Now if somebody in Somalia has a retarded baby, I'm not going to take care of it. No, it's way outside of my area of concern at that. I have no attachment to it whatsoever. And the thing is that that's kind of the idea again, is that people take care of their smallest unit, which is their self, then their family, then their friends,
hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, then their community, and then you go out into like their country, and then their world. The globalists take the exact opposite, which is you need to care for the globe. Fuck every individual person; they're not important. You got to take care of the globe. It's global warming. It's blah 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 blah. Then you take care of. There should be no countries, but if you're in a country, then you take care of, like, and then you go back down. And the last thing you should take care of is an individual. It's a backwards way of thinking, to me, and that's one of the core differences in terms of like who you care for. It's totally different between conservative and liberals, and that's why we all have such a hard time getting along with each other and coming up with laws, is because we all have different opinions on it. Yeah. And we could talk about whether one's right or not, so.
Oh, I'm glad I won this debate.
I don't think anybody can win this debate. There's always this the thing is, these are always like philosophical questions and stuff you go down, which we all have to agree we can all be wrong about this stuff, and we can all be right. It's just matter. But yeah, I probably should get to work here though. I don't know if actually I gotta go drop my damn. I gotta actually get off and go and drop my.
It's Memorial weekend. Off. You didn't take today off?
No, we've got a big project due mid-month, so I've been putting in more hours lately.
But this also depends on culture. Some cultures have more emphasis on the group.
Liberal cultures. Individual, which is conservative, which is more American. Yeah.
All right, Gamlor, it's been real.
I think he's probably gone by now.
Well, it shows that I have one viewer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's coincidental life cycles. But
I wonder how they do that. All right, let's be
all
real.
right, have a great Memorial
There's the
Day.
Air
All right,
Show this weekend, so I'm gonna watch that. See ya.
yep, see ya. Have a good one. Bye.